Ravens. Did we knock the ball out of the park in this draft? Was this the draft that got us over the hump for the Super Bowl? We're gonna discuss this and a couple of things more coming right out.
Renegade.
Yo, my guys, my name is Sunny. Welcome to szg Sports. And if this is your first time in the channel and you love early content, please subscribe now and hit the bell so you can stay up to date every time I upload a video. I know I took a little hiatus. I was moving and there's some stuff going around. So this is the new setup. I did find a gray wall. You see some curtain here, but I did find a gray wall like we did last time. Anyway, so this is going to be the setup probably for the next weeks, months, who knows. But this is not regrading, giving you my grades for the NFL draft. I'm going to do it a little bit different. There's two grades that I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you my grade for the player / fit the team, and the grade on the pick itself. And if I would have picked anybody else in there, now hindsight 2020, I know how the picks went after them, who exactly went after them, who went before them. So we're gonna discuss that, all that. I would like for you guys to give me grades on my take. I know there's gonna be a couple hot takes here, and on the draft in general. Okay, so the first pick on the pick 28, and now we know DeCosta was trying to move out to get CeeDee Lamb. And if we look, I mocked ourselves jumping to 21 to get CeeDee. CeeDee ended up going to 18, I think it was, the Cowboys. He was talking to the Raiders to go to 19. That was the spot that I thought maybe we could get CeeDee. So I mocked them earlier that day, but regardless, we stayed put. We got a linebacker. I had to admit, I wanted them to trade back. I want them to trade back because there was so much value in this draft. And I think they might have still got Patrick Queen. I don't know if they would have gotten, if Patrick Queen would have been there after the Bengals, but maybe trading back a little bit. It looks like it wasn't there. DeCosta said there was not many calls for trading backwards for them, or another team trading up. So regardless, the pick was in. Patrick Queens, I give this pick an A. I think it's good. I had concerns with Patrick Queens. He is a one-year wonder in college so far. The other concern that I have with Mr. Queens is he needs to bulk up, but I love his explosiveness. I love what he does. I also need him to get off the blocks. If he learns how to get off the blocks and, be a short tackler, well-defined, he was a better or more polished prospect than Kenneth Murray. I thought Kenneth Murray had a bigger ceiling. I thought Patrick Queen was a more rounded, better prospect. As of today, Patrick Queen needs to polish a little bit more. I mean, we do a great job dealing linebackers. So I'm excited with this pick. I thought that was our glaring hole. That was the biggest hole we had. Boom, we fill it right away. On day one, pick 28, I was fine with that pick. Give it an 8. Would I pick anybody else there? Well, not really. Maybe Pittman, but I understand the middle linebacker, so I'm not going to question the first pick. So now, day 2. And shout out to everybody that joined the live stream with here. Shout out to Coach Joe Newell, the Berlin BSers, and Raven also made an appearance on the channel. We had a lot of picks that day, right? Only 1 second round. We have 4 third rounders. So second rounder, first pick we got Dobbins. Not gonna lie, I wasn't happy with that pick. When it happened, I was surprised, shocked. Again, if you follow this channel, you know what I said was no running back into the 4th round. Our second pick was a running back. So I was not super happy. So the Dobbins pick itself, like the player itself, I would say the player's an A player, well-rounded running back. And to be honest, I think we all gonna keep 4 running backs. I think this is the year that you say, Trey, you're gonna go to the practice squad. I know we pick up a quarterback from Utah. Whoever is going to be in the practice squad, you're going to keep the 4 running backs, and this is why. I think Gus Edwards brings something that is the same thing that Mark Ingram brings, but Gus Edwards is still going to be cheap after this year for a year or 2 more, right? At least a year more, maybe 2. So you cut bait with Ingram after this year. You still had Edwards, you still had Dobbins, and you had Justin Hill, so hoping that he can be a good third down back, although Dobbins is just a well-rounder. So you drafted Dobbins to be your bell cow. You drafted Dobbins similar place where you drafted rate rise. This is the reason I was not on board with a running back. The net effect on the running game of Dobbins is not going to be much. The benefit of Dobbins is the ability to cut Mark Ingram next year and him to step up, and you have a really good back to have for a couple years to come. That's the essential benefit. So the guy itself, the player, A+, A, whatever you want, B+, great pick as a player. Now, the pick, the actual selection of the running back here, I would say a C. Players would I have drafted based on the people that were there? Mims. I would have taken Mims, no doubt. Josh Uche, I would have taken before him. I would have taken Willie Gay, even though we had Queens. The other one, Logan Wilson and Okwara. There's some players that I would have taken with the 55th overall or traded back. AJ Epinesa won the pick before. That made me sad. Obviously, you guys know I was a big fan of AJ Epinesa. But Dobbins is a hell of a player. Again, A player, pick itself C, and those are the players that I would have picked. Pick 60th, we traded back with the Patriots. The Patriots ended up taking Uche there. So we traded to pick 71, and that let us get more capital for the third round. We took Justin Madubuike. I had no problem with this pick. I will say Madubuike is a guy that needs to develop another move. But look, you're asking him, you're not going to start my guy. You are going to be learning for Calais Campbell, from Derek Wolfe, and Brandon Williams. And we needed depth. Our D-line, starting D-line was great. Depth was questionable. Now we have depth. This dude needs to learn some traits, but the potential of this player is great. I give this pick a B+. Would I pick anybody else there? Maybe a Zach Bond was still there. I would have taken a flyer of Zach Bond. The reason is because we didn't pick any edge of Zach Bond, and you guys knew I was not big on Zach Bond in the first round, but in the third round, yes, definitely I think they would have worth. Now, I would say the pick itself, so B+ is the player, pick itself a B. Zach Bond maybe would have been the other player right there that I would have taken. Maybe Cushenberry, but Madubuike makes sense. Look, I think you're gonna line him behind Wolf, right? And then you're gonna have Jihad Ward there, also another veteran. I think this D-line, he is gonna benefit from all this talented veterans being there. I think it makes sense. Again, B+ for the player, B as a pick itself. I like it. Again, the only two maybe that I would have considered was Devin Duvernay. And I called this pick like 20 picks before us. I think by the pick of the Raiders, I was like, okay, we need to pick Duvernay. We need to pick Duvernay. And we ended up picking Duvernay. And for me, that's an A pick in the third round, late third, a guy that is explosive, a guy that is a dynamic player in the middle of the field. Is going to present problems to a lot of players. I think this year his contribution is going to be there, but you're not going to see him being a starter. I think he's going to learn behind Willie Snead. I think Willie Snead is a chain mover, so you're still going to see a lot of Snead, but he is your future slot corner. And we're going to talk about Prochet later. This pick, I give it an A+, and the pick itself, I'll give it an A. I would have moved out of what we picked there in Duvernay. Nobody behind him would have enticed me to be like, oh, and having the possibility of losing him. Nope. I think A+ for Duvernay, A for the pick itself. And here's when it starts getting more interesting. Malik Harrison was the next pick. I think Malik Harrison is a solid pick, especially where you pick him. I said this is a B, solid B player. Players that I would have taken before Malik Harris. So the player itself is a B. Downhill linebacker. He can punish the running side. He is a run stuffer. I saw the Ravens coming up with a video saying, well, no, he's more athletic than people give him credit. No, he is athletic-ish. He's not Patrick Queens. He's not overly athletic. He's athletic enough for being in the NFL, right? As an NFL player, you're going to be athletic. But he is a downhill guy. He's a punisher. That is what he does. Guys that I would have taken, Alex Highsmith at that point. I would have taken a flyer, Alex Highsmith. That would have been my only player between that pick and the next pick for us. That would have been my only player. So I would say the pick itself, I will give it a solid B. Solid B. I think the thing with Hicksmith is, who's your other edge, right? You're thin an edge. Your starters might be good, but who's your next line? And then Judah's might not be here next year. So Hicksmith would have been good to develop as a player, and he ended up going with Squealer. So anyway, next pick, still in the third round, Tyre Phillips. And Mr. Tyre Phillips is a good player. It was funny because the Malik Harrison pick, I didn't call it. But I said to Coach and to Fred, which was the only two that were left by then, I said, yo, our pick, 106, is going to be an O-line. That's when the guard's going to come. I think I called Bredesen. I didn't call Tyre Phillips. But this is my concern. I think the pick is good. The problem that I have with Tyre is, I don't know if he has the feet to be a pulling guard. I don't know if he has the quickness to be a pulling guard. What Tyre brings you is, if he can be a guard, he played tackle, so he's versatile. I think he definitely is going to make the team. There's no question about him not making this team. Because even if he doesn't start, he can be your backup guard, your backup tackle, or at least that's what they hope. He played left tackle. He can back up Stanley. I think this presents a problem for Zanod. This presents a problem from Smith, the guy that they just signed for a year, but non-guarantee. I think the player at this point, late third, I will say the pick itself, we need an O-line. The player itself, I say a B. The pick itself, I will say a B minus. Look, David Skater, a guy that could have been playing outside linebacker, middle linebacker, was still there. That would have been a guy that I would be intrigued. Troy Pride, I know corner's not a bigger need. I like Troy Pride. I would have picked Troy Pride there, and that would have been it. Maybe Kevon Chason. I'm sorry, not Chason. Kevon Wallace. That would have been the other guy. But I get this pick here, so B minus as the pick, B as the player. I think is solid. I think, again, he's going to provide versatility. Even if he doesn't make the team, just have a guy that can come in as a guard, as a tackle. That is special. That not a lot of players can do that. Okay, then Ben Bredesen. And I said to my guys here, I said, like, yo, we're going to pick a Michigan guy. Another guy that maybe I would have taken instead of Tyre would have been AGG, Antonio Gandy Golden. So that would have been another guy. Anyway, Ben Bredesen. This surprised me a little bit because of the pick that we made before, but again, I thought we were going to pick a Michigan guy. Ben Bredesen is a pretty good guard. In the fourth round, I think it's good value. Especially, we're talking about, 4 picks for the last in the fourth round? Not a bad pick. Again, another guy to compete. And we signed D.A. Fluker. At this point, you have a lot of guys to compete for that right guard position. Add him to the mix. If he doesn't make it as a starter, it all depends. Look, it's starting to get crowded, right? Usually you have your 5 starters. You get a backup tackle, a backup guard, and another backup that might not be active. Now, Macari is a guy that gives you the versatility of a center guard. Tyre Phillips might give you the versatility of a tackle guard. One more player you might have as an active, and he's competing with Powers. He's competing with D.A. Fluker. He's competing with with Tyre. So it's getting crowded, but hey, competition, that's all good. I would say this pick was a B+ for me, and the pick itself, there was not that many players that I had to pick here. Maybe Khalid Kareem again, because I was looking for that edge. Other than him, it started to get thin. Tyler Johnson could have been a possibility. Curtis Weaver, a guy that I wasn't high for the first or second round, but at this point in the 5th, definitely a good value. So those players would have been players that I would have picked over. So the pick itself, I will say a C, right? Only because we already got a guard, and there's other players that I think will fit a need. Now, my biggest head scratcher is Broderick Washington Jr. Hopefully I didn't botch his last name. And look, this guy is a decent run blocking D tackle. My question is, D tackle room right now is Mac, 5th round pick from last year. So this dude is a 5th round pick, right? So let's start again. Williams, Wolf, and Calais Campbell. Jahad Ward for 1 more year. Jelly for 1 more year. Mac, 5th round pick, and we'll know the defense more than this dude, right? And Madubuike and dude here. I'm blanking. Is it Washington Jr.? 8. I think Washington will not make the team unless Mac becomes atrocious and he doesn't make the team. But independently, I thought this was a C. I think he's okay. My problem with this pick is I would have preferred if they would have gone an I. An I didn't go that much later. An I would have been a perfect pick at that point. A guy that I like a lot. He might have been able to provide pass rushing opportunity in passing situation. I don't think he's a natural fit as an outside linebacker. But in a passing situation, I think he would have been good enough to put there as a passing situation. The other guy that I would have picked there, Donovan Peoples-Jones. A Michigan boy. Another Michigan guy. But there was something about DPJ that they didn't like because obviously, again, they know him because of Harbaugh. Okay. Rounding out this grades. Then we traded up. We didn't have any 6th round pick, but we traded up and we gave up next year's 5th round pick and we up our 7th round pick to get James Prochet. Now, Prochet here is a great value pick. Guy with excellent hand. The problem with Prochet is just basically stature at 5'11". We have a lot of tiny receivers. A lot of sub 6 foot. And that's okay, but we need that big receiver. So this looks good for Boyking. This looks good for Jaleel Scott. If Jaleel Scott doesn't make the team, it's a him problem at that point. But James Prochet does everything good. Now, level of competition is my question. But other than that, catching radius, he's 5'11", right? But other than that, the dude is fluid. The dude looks good. Great hands. Is aggressive. Now, what I want from Duvernay, if he can become my Steve Smith Sr., I'll be awesome. But Prochet also has some Steve Smith Sr. traits. I'm not trying to compare them now with what Steve Smith Sr. was, but if they can become that, I think the pick was great, was super solid. They love him because they went up to get him. But look, I would have taken also Prochet there with the 170th instead of Washington Jr. So James Prochet was the pick. I'm okay. I would say A for the player. I love Prochet. Again, level of competition, we'll see. And the pick itself, I'll say A. I thought we needed 2 wide receivers, and we got it with him. Okay, let's pick a guy that, man, I hear so much from this dude. Geno Stone. Now, Geno Stone is a pretty good player when I was watching the tape of Iowa. Great safety on the back end, good anticipations, good hands, a good tackler. There's 2 problems. He ain't super fast. He's not going to overwhelm you with athleticism. But he's, again, athletic enough. It's the same thing that I said about Malik. But he's tiny. Now, we've seen safeties. They're not the biggest, and they're still really good. I think Geno will make the team as a special teamer, and then hoping that he has the Clark path, make the team. We still have Joker. Joker has an advantage, but Joker gets injured every year. So Geno Stone will have the opportunity. I would say here, 7th round, there's no need for me to just bang on this pick. I think Geno Smith at that point was an 8 pick. I think, would I pick any other player? Nah. 7th round, you're trying to see who is best available. Geno Stone was probably the best available. Look, I think the Ravens overall, I will give them, and this is harsher than most people, a B. Because I think in the 2nd round with Dobbins, they could have picked a different player and have more value. In the 5th round, they could have picked another player and have better value. Even in the 3rd with Madubuike, could have picked another player with just bring a different value. But overall, I think all the picks are solid. It's just I would have picked different positions at that moment. But They're the experts. That's what they get the big bucks. You would think they know better. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and IG at szg.sports. Don't forget, hit that bell so when I come live or when I upload another video, you get notified. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace out.